The CPU is the central processing unit. It processes data and executes instructions. The CPU consists of the ALU, CU, and registers. The ALU, Arithmetic Logic Unit, is an electronic circuit made up of logic gates and performs simple arithmetic on integer binary numbers and logical calculations. The control unit, or CU, coordinates the execution of instructions, and the registers are small memory spaces on the CPU that store the instructions processed by the CPU. RAM, Random Access Memory, stores the data and instructions currently in use for the processor to access. You buy RAM in DIMMs, Dual Inline Memory Module. It is volatile and known as primary storage. RAM is DRAM, dynamic RAM, since the contents in RAM are constantly changing during processing, and is lost when the computer is switched off. Adding more RAM will improve the speed of the computer. ROM, Read-Only Memory, is a non-volatile memory chip used to permanently store data in computers and other electronic devices, such as BIOS firmware. EEPROM, Electronically Erasable Programmable ROM, can be changed using system software to change the data, whereas the ROM chip is programmed once the device is manufactured. Secondary storage is non-volatile, meaning that it doesn't need electricity to retain its data, and can be fixed inside the computer or removable. Hard drives are housed inside computer cases and store users' programs and data permanently. This is a diagram of a hard drive structure, which is useful for understanding defragmentation later. Mechanical hard drives have mechanical parts, and a read-write head which scans the disk for data represented magnetically. They are vacuum sealed, and data is not lost when the computer is switched off. Since data is represented magnetically, you should not move a strong magnet near it, as this can cause damage and data loss. SSDs have no moving mechanical parts. Instead, they have electronic circuits, and information is stored in microchips, making them faster and less susceptible to damage. They are more expensive per gigabyte than hard drives, but faster. Hybrid drives are hard drives joined with a high-speed flash memory using SSD technology on the same drive, benefiting from the efficiencies and cost benefits from both. Flash drives are small, very portable storage which use electronic circuits, and connect using a USB port and are useful for transferring data and backups. Optical drives use a laser light to etch or burn data onto a disk for reading and writing. Examples are CD, DVD, and Blu-ray drives, but they lost popularity to flash drives. SD secure digital cards are small flash memory cards with high memory considering their small size, and are often used in digital cameras. Most input and output devices need some sort of connecting port to be able to communicate with the computer appropriate for the device to send or receive the correct data. Most devices use USB and HDMI as they are universal ports, thus reducing the number of ports needed. Universal Serial Bus (USB) is a common interface enabling communication between devices and a host controller such as a PC. High Definition Multimedia Interface (HDMI) provides a digital interface to receive and transmit both video and audio signals. Defragmentation. The disk defragmenter rearranges fragmented data on a mechanical hard disk so it can work more efficiently. Flash drives and solid-state drives do not need to be defragmented, as they have no moving parts. This is a diagram of a hard drive structure, which is useful for understanding defragmentation. Drivers. Every device connected to a computer system has a small specific program called a driver, which provides the operating system with the information needed to work with that device. The more up-to-date the driver program is, the better the device will work. You can get drivers from a physical CD or download via a website. Software distribution and licensing models. A software license legally describes how software can be used and copied, and protects copyright of software, and is often controlled by a program called a license manager, enforcing the license terms to protect the software vendor from piracy. When you buy software, you buy the rights to use it as described in the EULA. Copyright laws establish that authors of software have ownership of it. Software licenses can be grouped into two main types: proprietary or free and open source licenses. Proprietary licensed property does not allow software to be freely distributed or copied, and it is achieved using activation keys and does not give access to the source code. Free and open source licenses share the source code of the software and are referred to as copyleft licenses. An example is the General Public License (GNU), which gives the user permission to change, modify, and redistribute software. The user is obliged to include source code when software is redistributed so others can benefit from the improvements. Within free and open source licensing models, there are subcategories. The Creative Commons license allows you to keep the copyright of your work but still allows people to copy and distribute it on condition they acknowledge your work. This license is in response to a wave of collaboration occurring through the internet, particularly Web 2. Freeware. Freeware software is software that is copyrighted but given away by the author without any cost for the user to use but not resell. The author still retains copyright, meaning you cannot alter it since you're not given the source code, and is usually available on the internet. Freemium software is a variant of freeware where limited functions are provided free, but additional features have a cost. Normally, you pay for a license key that unlocks additional features. Compression. File compression programs reduce the size of files so they take up less storage space, or to be transferred more quickly over the internet. Examples are WinZip, 7-Zip, and WinRAR. Images do not allow for a high degree of compression compared to text files. When transferring files over the internet, you save significantly on bandwidth by transferring compressed files. Archiving utilities allow you to remove files and store them in a compressed separate location for space saving and later use, while backup allows you to make a copy of files or folders in case of data loss to a separate location, including remote cloud storage, local drives, network drives, external drives. The backup utility usually has options for how often data is backed up, where the previous backup should be overwritten, and setting a schedule for backups. Security features. Firewall connection is a device or set of devices designed to permit or deny network transmissions based upon a set of rules, and are used to protect networks from unauthorized access and permitting legitimate communications only. Malware is any program or file harmful to a computer, and includes computer viruses, spyware, and adware. Virus. Before internet connectivity was popular, viruses were transferred by inserting an infected disk into a computer. Transferring viruses has become a lot easier since internet connectivity has become commonplace. Viruses are programs illegally loaded onto a computer that cause damage to the system. They can modify themselves to avoid detection and can spread from one computer to another via removable media or downloading from the internet. Spyware is computer software installed surreptitiously on a personal computer to intercept or take partial control over a user's interaction with the computer without the user's consent. One form is a keystroke logging program, which can be used to record each keystroke of the user to be transmitted via the internet to the criminal. Adware is unwanted and annoying software that automatically displays or downloads to the computer. An example of adware is pop-up windows that display while surfing the internet. They can slow down the operation of a computer, and they access cookies, which are small text files containing personal data stored by the internet browser to customize displayed adverts according to activity detected in the browser. Anti-malware is programs necessary to safeguard from malicious threats. Antivirus software and firewalls are used to protect a computer against the introduction of malware and checking for the presence of malware and malicious activity and recovering from attacks. Antivirus needs to be continuously updated to find the signature, which is the identifying piece of code embedded in virus programs, and take action to delete or quarantine the offending file. Network classification. Networks can be classified according to the distances covered. Local area network LAN is a network set up in a limited physical location like a building. Metropolitan area network MAN consists of several LANs interconnected using high-speed connections across the city. Wide area network WAN is made up of interconnected LANs and/or MANs in different cities or countries. A WAN of a large company is often called an enterprise WAN. Global area network GAN is a worldwide WAN such as the internet. Personal area network PAN exists where users transfer and synchronize data between their devices and is used for the user to communicate between their devices. Home area network HAN is a network found within a user's home, connecting devices of all individuals within the home. PANs of individuals in a home sharing resources make up the HAN. The purpose of a network is to share resources. The network server is a computer designed to act as a central network computer providing resources like network security, hardware access, disk space, and printer access. Now companies often use cloud computing instead of LAN networks. A communication channel has a bandwidth, with the bandwidth being the maximum amount of data transferred per unit time, measured in bits per second. A higher bandwidth means a faster transmission rate. Cloud computing is the use of computing services like storage, databases, software, and networking over the internet, an example being Google Drive. You only pay for the services you use, making it cheaper than upgrading servers and software. Networks consist of two or more devices called nodes, which are connected by some communications channel. A node is a device connected to the network, and is typically a computer but can also be a printer or mobile device. The communications channel can be bounded using wires or unbounded using wireless technology. Nodes on a network can be a device users use such as a desktop, a switch to connect nodes to each other using cables for communication, a device to connect to the internet such as a router, or a device to provide a service such as a server or printer. One of the types of bounded media is the unshielded twisted pair (UTP), which is the most common bounded media cabling in small LANs, and consists of several pairs of twisted wires in an outer protective plastic cover. The twisting helps eliminate interference from signals on other wires and from electrical devices. The advantages of UTP is that it is inexpensive, easy to install, support fast transmission rates, are widely used, and can be used in many different types of networks. The disadvantages is that they are susceptible to interference, crosstalk, and the cable can be a maximum of 100 meters before the signal degenerates due to attenuation, although a repeater can be used to join two cables and amplify the signal. Another type of bounded media is the shielded twisted pair, STP, which is more expensive and is a bulkier cable with twisted pairs enclosed in protective foil, reducing interference and crosstalk. The problems with these copper cables is attenuation, which is the loss of signal strength over distance, electromagnetic interference EMI, which is when signals from other sources such as machinery corrupt the signals traveling in the cables, eavesdropping, which is when signals traveling along the cables can be intercepted, and crosstalk, which is when signals in adjacent wires interfere with each other. The fiber optic cable is a faster type of bounded media. It sends light impulses instead of electronic signals, eliminating interference. The cable consists of a central glass or plastic core surrounded by layers of protective materials. The cladding surrounds the core and reflects light back into the core. Advantages of fiber is that it has faster transmission rates since light is faster than electronic signals. It is more secure since light signals cannot easily be tapped. It can transmit over longer distances than UTP, as light signals do not weaken like electronic signals in copper wires. Light signals are also not susceptible to EMI. Light signals are also immune to lightning and electrical surges. The disadvantages of fiber is that it is very expensive to purchase and install, as it requires expensive machinery, and it is also complex to install. Fiber optic cable is often used to join LAN segments together, especially when LANs are in different buildings. When several LAN segments handle one fiber optic cable, it is called a backbone. Nodes in a network do not have to be connected with cabling. Wireless networks use the air to transmit radio signals. Each type of wireless signal uses a different frequency measured in hertz to remain separate from each other. In a client-server network, there is the server computer, which is the computer which shares the resources with other computers in the network. In client-server networks, there may be several servers, each with specific purposes. Examples are a file server, print server, web server, email server, and proxy server. The Internet is a worldwide collection of computer networks connected for the purpose of sharing resources or communicating, and can be seen as a global network. The hardware and software required to connect to the Internet is an Ethernet connection, a network card or wireless-enabled computer, software such as an internet browser, a network providing internet, and a device such as a router or wireless router. A router joins computer networks together using either wired or wireless connections. IP addresses. Protocols are sets of rules and are required for computers to communicate. Collectively, TCP and IP are called the TCP/IP suite. TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, ensures the transmission gets from the sender host to the destination host. IP, Internet Protocol, identifies different computers connected to the Internet. The DNS domain name server assigns unique names and numbers to connected hosts or computers, each with a unique host name, domain name, and IP address. The host name is words, while the IP address is a 32-bit or 128-bit number. For IPv4, it is 32-bit, with 4 8-bit numbers separated by dots. I have put some examples on screen, and note that any values greater than 255 result in a false address. The World Wide Web consists of many linked web pages which can be accessed via the Internet, with hypertext documents which can be viewed with a web browser. Please note that the Internet is not the same as the World Wide Web, since the World Wide Web runs on the Internet, and a web page is any document on the web. A website is made up of many linked web pages accessed using an application called an internet browser. A web browser is a program used to locate and view web pages, and is responsible for processing the HTML code. A search engine is a program that searches documents on the web for specified keywords and returns a list of documents with hyperlinks to relevant pages. Note that these are the examples of web browsers. Uniform Resource Locator, URL. Each web page on the Internet has a unique address called the URL, used to view the web pages. Many URLs begin with HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The S in HTTPS indicates that the site is secure and safer for private information. Protocols are used for sending and receiving emails, with SMTP being responsible for sending emails while POP and IMAP are for receiving. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. POP downloads the emails from the ISP and stores them on the device, while for IMAP the email remains on the ISP server but can be read on all your devices, allowing for syncing. Cloud storage is the storage of data online. The benefits are that you don't need to buy new equipment, as in physical storage. You can access cloud storage anytime, anywhere, as long as you are connected to the internet, and you have an automatic remote backup. You only pay for the storage in use. Concerns are an unreliable internet connection can stop data access, security is a concern, and the company storing the data could close or have irrecoverable disaster.